Most relationships don't end because of cheating or because people stop loving each other. Many relationships die because of something much quieter, something that slowly turns conversations into arguments, arguments into resentment, and resentment into emotional distance. That thing is ego. And the scary part? Most people don't even realize when their ego starts controlling the relationship. They think they're protecting their self-respect, when in reality they're damaging the very connection they want to keep. In this video, we're going to understand the psychology of ego and how it silently destroys relationships from the inside. Let's begin. 1. Ego in relationships. When people hear the word ego, they usually imagine an arrogant person, someone who thinks they're better than everyone else. But psychology views ego differently. Ego is the image you have of yourself, your identity, your sense of being right, your sense of importance, and whenever that image feels threatened, your brain immediately tries to defend it. The problem is that relationships require connection, while ego is often focused on protection, and many times connection and protection move in opposite directions. 2. From partners to opponents. In a healthy relationship, two people work together against a problem, but when ego enters the picture, the problem is no longer the issue. Winning becomes the issue. Think about the last argument you've seen between two people. At some point, the conversation usually stops being about understanding and starts becoming about proving who was right, who was wrong, who cared more, who started it. The moment winning becomes more important than understanding, ego has already taken control, and relationships don't survive when both people are trying to win. Because every argument creates a loser, and nobody wants to feel like a loser in a relationship. 3. The need to be right. One of the strongest forms of ego is the need to always be right. The human brain wants to believe that its opinions, decisions, and actions are correct. That's why admitting mistakes feels uncomfortable, because it threatens our self-image. So instead of saying, "I was wrong," many people justify, defend, argue, or shift blame. The tragedy is that a simple apology can solve in minutes what ego keeps alive for months. The brain protects the ego even when doing so damages the relationship. 4. Ego hates vulnerability. Every strong relationship requires vulnerability. Being honest, being open, expressing feelings, admitting fears. But ego sees vulnerability as weakness. So instead of saying, "I miss you," they stay silent. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry," they wait for the other person to say it first. And this is where emotional distance begins. And that's what makes ego so dangerous. It doesn't destroy relationships in one day. It destroys them one conversation at a time, one argument at a time, one unsaid apology at a time. 5. Signs that ego has taken control. So, how do you know if ego is damaging your relationship? Here are some warning signs. You find it difficult to apologize. You constantly keep score of who did more. You feel the need to win every argument. You wait for the other person to text first. You stop expressing your real feelings because you don't want to look weak. At first, these behaviors may seem small, but together they create a relationship where both people are protecting themselves instead of understanding each other. And the more protection there is, the less connection remains. 6. Who cares less? One of the most toxic effects of ego is the game of emotional competition. Many couples unknowingly start competing over who cares less. If they take 3 hours to reply, I'll take 4. If they stop calling, I won't call either. If they don't apologize, neither will I. This is not strength. This is ego disguised as strength. Because healthy relationships are not built by two people trying to appear unaffected. They're built by two people willing to communicate honestly. The moment love becomes a competition, both people lose. 7. Emotional distance. Most relationships collapse because of accumulated distance, small misunderstandings that were never discussed, small hurts that were never expressed, small apologies that were never made. Over time, these things pile up, and eventually two people who once felt close start feeling like strangers. And the saddest part? Many couples still love each other, but their ego prevents them from rebuilding the connection. They wait, the other person waits, and the distance continues to grow. 8. Defeat ego in relationship. The solution is not to have no ego. That's impossible. The solution is learning when to put the relationship above the ego. Ask yourself, do I want to protect my pride or protect the relationship? Learn to apologize when you're wrong. Learn to listen without preparing a defense. Learn to express feelings before resentment builds. And most importantly, stop viewing vulnerability as weakness, because vulnerability is what creates trust, and trust is what keeps relationships alive. 9. Hardest truth about ego. Ego often convinces people that surrendering is losing, but in relationships, surrendering your ego is often the greatest victory. It takes far more strength to say, "I was wrong," than to keep arguing. It takes more courage to start a difficult conversation than to stay silent, and it takes more maturity to choose understanding over pride. At the end of the day, people don't leave relationships because everything was imperfect. They leave when communication, understanding, and connection disappears, and ego is one of the fastest ways to make all three disappear. So the next time you're about to prove a point, ask yourself a question: is my ego protecting me, or is it destroying the relationship? Because sometimes the strongest words in any relationship are not, "I am right," but "I understand." That's it. If you want more videos like this in future, then make sure to subscribe this channel and hit that bell icon.